What's up, everybody? Soldier First Class here, and today's mission. Now, I know it's been a long time since I got to say those words, and obviously, I never really thought I would be making this video, but I decided to make this video because I've played the Rebirth demo. I know in the past, have said that I wanted nothing to do with this project, and I still have my reservations, and we'll talk about that a little bit here in a second, but I do want to provide the disclaimer that I am going into this game with zero, I don't want to say faith or hype or anything, because, I am excited to see a few things, and obviously we're going to talk about that, and that's the title of the video and everything else. But I wanted to do this kind of off-the-cuff video to explain a few things, and then go into what I am excited for, which, I mean, I still like Final Fantasy VII. That hasn't changed. I've had my reservations about this project, obviously, and they're pretty well documented. But I wanted to start with the disclaimer that I'm coming into this not necessarily what I'd say with an open mind, but more so I'm coming into it knowing that I'm preparing for the worst, and if it somehow works out, great. And if not, then I already knew going into it that I wasn't getting my expectations or my hopes up for the things that I wanted to happen. With that being said, that's not me hating on the game, that's just me being realistic, and I have wanted to be more real with you on the channel. I've wanted to be more myself on the channel, not just Soldier First Class. I wanted to be Alex, and part of being Alex is telling you guys exactly how I'm feeling, and I'm pretty sure that went through on my recording. But anyway, that being said, I do want to get into some of the things that I am excited for with this game, because even though a lot of people have pigeonholed me into this idea that I fucking hated Remake, and I hated everything about it, and I didn't like anything, that's just simply not true at all. I enjoyed quite a bit of the game, and in fact, I would say that 90% of the game I absolutely loved. I'm currently replaying Remake on hard mode, and I will say I still am not a big fan of the Whispers, I'm still not a big fan of Zack coming back to life, and I'm still not a big fan of the potential that Aerith may or may not die. That is something that I've been pretty steadfast on, and that's something that I won't budge on, and I think that's okay. I think a lot of people were expecting me, Soldier First Class, to automatically love everything about this, and what people don't realize is that I've never really been a big fan of the extended media of Final Fantasy VII past the original game, and that's not me being a hater, that's just me being realistic in what I enjoy in stories and what I don't enjoy. I think we all have that, and I think it's okay to say that. So I want to talk about the first thing that I am really excited for, and that is the locations, and I think everybody should be excited about that. I mean, we're getting Junon, Cosmo Canyon, City of the Ancients, Temple of the Ancients, all of the premier locations, Costa del Sol, in Final Fantasy VII are going to be there, except for obviously the Northern Crater, I'm assuming. I'm assuming that won't come into play at all in Rebirth, because it shouldn't, but not holding it accountable. I'm not holding that or anything. Cosmo Canyon is one of my favorite locations in the entire game, and I'm excited to see how that goes. The atmosphere, the story there, hopefully not invested by the Whispers, but whatever. And that's a big thing for me, the locations. And I've seen the trailers, I've seen the open world and stuff like that, and I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see those locations in full, 4K HD, the way we were always excited to see those locations. I think the other thing too, I'm really excited about the music. I was gonna say it when I was talking about locations, but I love Final Fantasy VII's music, and I love, obviously, quite a few tracks from Remake's thing. I think there were some weird design choices when it came to the music, but other than that, I really did enjoy the music from Remake. Airbuster, obviously, a fucking banger. But that's the one thing that is really that I'm really excited for Rebirth with, is that what pivotal scenes are gonna have their music reimagined in ways that are just incredible, powerful, pay homage to the original, and really bring out the emotion in those scenes. Because I think one thing I really didn't like about Crisis Core's ending was that the song Why really just felt out of place for that moment. And sometimes there's design choices by this team that have kind of not been the greatest when it came to like atmosphere. Sometimes they just knock it out of the park, and I'm happy that they do. But then there's other times like that where it's like there's a K-pop song in the background or J-pop song or whatever it is in the background of one of your most pivotal death scenes. It just didn't work for me. I know a lot of people like it. I'm glad they do. Just wasn't for me. The third thing that I'm really excited for is the mini games. The dolphin riding mini game, the like, just all of it. Even Mog's house, like fuck it, you know, like maybe Mog's house is gonna be awesome this time around. Probably not, but maybe it will be. The submarine mini game, the chocobo racing, like all of this stuff is gonna be pretty dope. Like I'm not gonna lie, it's probably gonna sink. I'm probably gonna sink a lot of hours into the mini games. Like that's just the reality of it. But yeah, I think a lot of the mini games are going to be fun. Hopefully they're not like Final Fantasy X's mini games, because I've honestly played, like, so I played the Yuffie DLC, and I will say that the, what the fuck's it called? The, Fort Condor. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. The Fort Condor minigame was phenomenal. Absolutely loved it. And it proved to me that Square Enix either makes the greatest minigames ever, or it makes the absolute hellscape that was Final Fantasy X minus Blitzball, because holy shit, those minigames sucked. But yeah, I'm excited for those. I think those are going to be really fun. I'm excited for the ones that we don't even know about yet. So, the next thing I'm really excited for is character moments. And what I mean by that is things like, obviously, the Gold Saucer date scene, the Costa del Sol scenes, the Nibelheim reactor scenes, like the moments that we know are there but don't know how they're going to handle. Now, I did enjoy the flashback in the demo. However, I felt there was just something I felt was off, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And it's almost like I feel like they almost rushed the moment, and I understand why. They kind of didn't want to like add too much detail because there's supposed to be a big mystery around it, even though, like, you know, obviously Cloud's the unreliable narrator in the situation and everything else, but there was something about, I felt the pacing was either too fast, maybe, or because, like, sometimes when you were doing the vacuuming and the, like, the slow crawling shit, it was kind of a little slowly paced and a little off, but it felt like the brisk pace of the actual moments were a little bit fast, and I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I also thought the weird addition of an elevator in the Shinra Manor was kind of weird, because like originally there was like a spiral staircase, I think it was, and then now it's like an elevator, and they're supposed to be like, oh, I bet the town didn't know about this, but yet you put a giant elevator in the room that is easily found. I don't know. It was just a weird thing that didn't quite match up with the dialogue in the scene, so I don't know if, like, maybe that was just a way to get it done quicker, or if, like, Cloud's supposed to misremember because he wasn't really there, or, like, what is going on there, but I hope that, like, they recreate these moments, if they plan to, because obviously we don't know, story-wise, how faithful it's going to stick. Obviously the demo stuck pretty well, but I'm really excited for those moments, and that is one thing that I really felt Remake did well, where, like, even though a lot of people found Jessie annoying, I didn't, for the most part. I thought her moments in, I think it was Chapter 5, or maybe it was Chapter 4, where you go through, like, to her parents' house and stuff like that, I thought that was really cool. I really liked that. I also liked the parts where they talked about, like, Shinra's military in the Sector 5 reactor, I believe it was. Where, well, it was the Airbuster, where they're going through and Cloud's like, oh, they use these large robots or machines or Airbusters or whatever to counteract big monsters. And I think that's a really cool touch that you don't get necessarily in the original, where they flesh out those kind of Shinra military details and stuff that Cloud is able to give you because he was part of the military. Even though he wasn't necessarily a soldier, he would still know those things because, obviously, he served in their military. I really hope, too, that they explore more so the evilness of Shinra. Like, obviously, in the original game they did, but I hope that they like really dive into the moral dilemma that these people have working for Shinra, knowing full well who they're working for, or the idea that the propaganda machine has been so like large that people may not necessarily know they're working for an evil corporation. So, because obviously, like, they blame Avalanche for the plate falling and the destruction of the reactors and everything else, even though we know from Remake that Shinra purposely destroyed the first reactor more so than Jesse was going to really drive home that Avalanche is the bad guy / Wutai, because currently, as far as I know, in the Remake timeline deal, I hate saying timeline, but that's what I mean, is timeline, that Wutai and Shinra are kind of still at it, so it's one of those things where I'm really excited for those character moments, like with Rufus and Song and the Turks, and Cloud and Aerith and Tifa, and Red 13 in Cosmo Canyon, and Kate Sith, and in Gold Saucer, and stuff like that. Like, I'm really excited for those moments, and that's one of the big things that I'm looking forward to. The other thing that I'm looking forward to is gameplay additions. Now, I know a lot of people were like, when I first made videos about Remake, I talked about there was a scene where they were fighting Abzu in the sewers, and it looked like Tifa had jumped off of Cloud's sword to do like a punch or a kick combo or something in the air, and that wasn't the case, it turned out. But I was told by several people that there's no way they could work out team attacks, because obviously, like, that'd be a lot of people to mix into the combat, and that'd be a lot of, like, things to manage, and that'd be a lot of all this stuff. And then what do they do with the Yuffie DLC? Her and Sonon have combo attacks. And then in the new game, that is specifically what they're adding to the combat, is team attacks. So while I can't take many victories from my time with Remake, I can take that one, so I'm going to. I'm excited for new limit breaks, new materia, new summons, like what we're going to get, like Titan, obviously, how they're going to mix in the old summons that we got, what old summons we might get carried over. I know if you played the demo, or if you played the Remake or the DLC, you get extra summons when you go into the new game, I think. Obviously, like, materia doesn't transfer over, but those things do. So I'm interested to see what new summons we get, if they're going to add, like, Kajata, Typhon, stuff like that, if they're going to add even summons that we didn't have in the original Final Fantasy VII. Are we going to get, probably not Knights of the Round, but are we going to get, like, the different Bahamut's? Are we going to get, you know, the different stuff? And so I'm kind of excited to see what they do with that. The one thing I noticed in gameplay that I wasn't a huge fan of still is aerial combat. I'm going to replay the demo, and I know the Junon demo comes out maybe today if you're watching this video today, but the air combat was kind of weird still, and I'm not really sure how I feel about it yet. I need to replay the demo to see if, like, maybe I was just fucking up, but I am excited to see what they do with the combat, because it seems really fluid. A lot more fluid than Remake, and I loved Remake's combat. Like, Remake's combat was fucking awesome. So, I'm pretty excited to see how all this goes. But I will say this, and this is the part of the video that some of you may get to and you may dislike the video for, but I'm gonna say it because this is how I feel, and I feel like to get through this video, I have to be as honest as possible. I am not excited to see the Whispers again. I'm a little disappointed that after defeating them, we're now seeing them in the trailers. No matter what role they play, I did not enjoy them in Remake, and I probably am not going to enjoy them in Rebirth. I think that's pretty reasonable. Like I said earlier, I will not budge on Aerith's death. And especially if the Whispers are involved, which it looks like they kind of are. I am in the camp, obviously, that she needs to still die. It was pivotal to the character development in the story. It was pivotal to a lot of things in the game towards the end. And I just feel like altering that moment alters the core of Final Fantasy VII and what it stood for back in the day. And while you can sit there and say, well, it's a remake, they can do what they want, I think kind of everybody, for the most part, I'm not saying everybody because that's not, I mean, that'd be false, but I feel like a lot of people are really like, this is the pivotal moment for this series. Like, if they don't kill Aerith, there's going to be a lot of people hop off. If they kill Aerith, there's going to be some that hop off. So I think no matter what they do, they're kind of damned if they do, damned if they don't. because obviously for decades now, there's been the rumor that was debunked that there was some way to save Aerith in the original game. Some way, or there originally was some way, or, you know, she was going to die a different spot, which we know from cut dialogue in the original that there was a possibility she lived longer than she did in the original game. But again, that's not what we got when the game came out, and that's not what I think a lot of people are expecting. It does make me nervous that Nomura's nervous. You know, when your director is nervous about how people are going to take it, I get a little nervous myself, especially coming from that team whose storytelling choices have not always been my favorite over the years. So I'm not really excited for that. I'm almost dreading getting to the end of the game to see what's going to happen. So I am excited for a lot of things, and I think Remake, to be fair to Remake, it did a lot of things really well. I feel like it didn't necessarily do everything well, and I think that's been well documented on this channel, but I don't want to say I'm going into it with an open mind, because clearly I have my resistances, and clearly I have things that I'm not going to budge on, but I'm also going into it knowing that I might be disappointed, and in some weird way that's kind of letting me be okay with this. And I know what you're going to say. I know people are going to say, oh, well, Soldier's just going back on his word. We all knew, blah, blah, blah. I told you so. I told you were going to play this game. I told you this. I told you that. Like, just be happy that I'm going to give it a chance. Don't throw it in my face, because if you throw it in my face, it's going to be one of those things where I'm like, do I really want to play this now? Like, just to hear people talk shit to me the whole time? Because that's what I dealt with for months after Remake came out, and I'm done dealing with that. So I'm not saying I won't play it because of other people, but it's going to be annoying, and I know it's going to happen regardless of what I say. But I just wanted to make this video because I felt like I don't want to give the wrong message, and I don't want to give the wrong intentions about me going into this project. So I just want to say, if you're still here with me, thank you for watching. Subscribe and hit that like button if you enjoyed what I had to say. If you agree with me, if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments section. Be respectful, please, because I'll be respectful to you in return. So, I love y'all very much, and as always, I don't remember how I ended these things. It's been so long. And we're on to the next mission. There we go. Later, guys.